Let's go deeper. If we're going to talk about racism honestly, we have to stop treating it like a feeling and start treating it like a system. Racism isn't just about hate. It's about design. It's about power. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Race is not real. It is not biological. It's a political tool. It's a construct, a social invention created to organize human beings into hierarchies of value. Now that's just the first layer, race as a construct. It was built deliberately to justify the economic and political systems of European expansion, to make slavery, colonization, and domination appear natural, even moral. But over time, we've seen attempts to reconstruct race, to take the same categories and try to make them fairer, more inclusive, more equal. That's the language of diversity, representation, and reform. It's well-intentioned, but it still operates inside the same architecture. Look, you can repaint the house, but if the foundation was poured unevenly, the structure remains crooked. That's why my work focuses on something different, deconstructing race. Deconstruction means pulling apart the entire framework, exposing how race was built, how it functions, and how it continues to shape identity, policy, and perception. It's not about making race kinder. It's about revealing that race itself is the problem. Because as long as we keep trying to reconstruct race, we're still accepting its terms. Deconstruction is the act of stepping outside the illusion, of understanding that race is not a natural truth. It's not an inevitability, but a political technology. Now, for the next layer of this construct, racial identities. White and black. These aren't opposite sides of nature. They're opposites of narrative. White was constructed as the standard of humanity, the default setting for what's normal, intelligent, and civilized. Black was constructed as its deviation, the other, the shadow, the inferior. And here's where we have to get specific. The word black didn't begin as a cultural identity. It began as a racial classification. Before black, there was Negro, Spanish for black. And before Negro, there were the African variety of cultural identities such as Igbo, Yoruba, Zulu, and so on. The European, in his project of domination, needed to separate the African from his land, his lineage, and his language. So the African became Negro, a word that stripped him of geography, nationhood, reducing him to a color, an object, a category of labor. Later, Negro transitioned into black, a term that, while reclaimed in pride and resistance, still carries the residue of that original separation. That's the paradox of blackness. It's both a wound and a weapon. It was created to dehumanize. And those who have been afflicted with this racial classification are in a continuing struggle to reconstruct this identity into a philosophy of survival, creativity, and culture. So, where do we go from here? If racism is both overt and covert, emotional and structural, how do we fight something that keeps changing its shape? That's what we will explore in part 3 of How Do You Like Your Racism?